Hey everyone, in this little mini mentoring video, I actually wanted to talk about gaining discipline. And a lot of the other videos I've talked about is how important is discipline, how it's much bigger than motivation because motivation is fleeting and can be lost. And a lot of people are saying, well, how do you get discipline? So what I'm going to do in this video is trying to think about how I think about maybe discipline and how you can get there. I'm not an expert in this. I'm not well read on this. This is just my opinions. I'm very much a practitioner. This is things I've done. I'm not a theorist. You should go and get information from lots of different sources and then really just think about what makes sense for me. Now, if I think about, the reason I don't have the fish background is I want to kind of use the whiteboard a little bit. So you think about, okay, we have this goal to get discipline. That's fundamentally what we want to do. And obviously discipline is that ability to, hey, I'm going to do this thing. There's no choice. I'm going to make this happen. And you can kind of say, oh, well, you just need to be disciplined to get discipline. And that doesn't really work. That's not something useful I can actually act on. So a big part of it might be, well, I need to kind of fake it till I feel it. I have to just kind of work on certain things that builds a certain muscle memory, and the mind is a muscle as well, to kind of make this happen for me. So how can I start off with that? And I really think the best thing you can do is to really just start with a routine. We need to make a routine, and that routine is just going to be what we do. I have to be able to remove that, oh, well, should I do this? I want to build a routine and I am just going to do that. I'm going to maybe get up a little bit earlier. I'm going to do something about making a change. Now, the important thing is, any change is always hard. I always talk about, well, what want most? We have to always be able to think about that. We kind of think about, well, let's write this down on kind of a little post-it note and we'll stick it somewhere. Remember, that's always about more important than what I want now. That's discipline. I want to be able to always think about what do I want most. What I want most is to maybe run that 5K with my kids, to learn that language, to build that business. Over what I want now is I'll lay in bed a bit longer, or sit on the couch and watch TV, or I'll eat that donut. So that's going to be super important because we're going to struggle. If I'm trying to do something new, our mind always resists. It likes what it's used to. It likes to be comfortable. And so I have to always be able to kind of override that and say, well, what do I want most? And that's going to help me stick to kind of my routine. Now, you're going to struggle. When you make a change, you're not going to want to do it. Get up a bit earlier maybe is difficult. Go back to that what you want most. Have it on that sticky note, have it on that bedside table, have it wherever you're struggling, have a little sticky note. Remember why you're doing it. Hey, I want to learn that musical instrument. I want to write this paper. I want to share this with other people. Whatever that is, there's no right or wrong. We want to keep it in mind. So then we're going to have this routine, and that is just going to be what we do. There's no choice about it. Now, for me, I've always been someone who likes routine. Monday to Saturday, I get up at 3 a.m. I do my cardio, I do my weight training, I work on my little projects, then I have my day job, then I spend some family time, then I do a little bit more work, and then I go to bed at like 8 p.m. Very regimented. Sundays, I sleep until 4 a.m., but then at 4 a.m. I get up and I work pretty much till 4 p.m. on my little projects. That's kind of my other work day. But I lay in an extra hour. But that's my routine. I'm not suggesting you do that. But every night my head hits the pillow and I'm out. I've had a good, productive day. So what we want to do is build a routine. Now, what I kind of recommend is I want to get up maybe a little bit earlier. Maybe get up an hour early. And use that time to work towards that what is I want most. We have this big vision of what we want to do. Get up early, a little bit earlier. and spend that time. Maybe it's doing exercise. Maybe it's learning an instrument. Maybe it's practicing something. Maybe it's reading a book. Maybe it's meditating. Maybe it's working on that business idea. It doesn't matter what it is. But make the time. If you want something bad enough, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. So build a routine. As part of that routine, I like to do everything. Eat at the same time. Really don't have these wild fluctuations. And the point is we're going to build a muscle memory through this routine. It's what we do. And over time, it then becomes a habit. Now, as I talked about in the last video, there's going to be discomfort in this. And discomfort's okay. We've come to learn that, oh, discomfort's a bad thing. Everything should be comfy. The mind will always steer us towards something that's comfortable. It's not the case. Any achievement we attain is only really valuable because there's been a certain discomfort to get there. We've worked, we've persevered through something to actually achieve that. If there's no discomfort, if it's just kind of given to us and it was easy, we don't really appreciate it. So this is how we grow, this is how we build. Now what was interesting, I saw this talk, it was Admiral William McRaven, and he gave this commencement speak. And it was phenomenal because he was like, hey, when we talk about routine, the first thing you kind of do at the start of the day is make your bed. And this was fascinating to me because what it means is every day you start off accomplishing something. The first thing you wake up, you've accomplished something. You can tick a box and you've started the day off succeeding. And in a worst case, no matter how bad the rest of your day is, well, when I go to bed at the end of the day, my bed's made. If I look in the room during the day, the bed's made. There's a certain order to that. And I thought that was super powerful. It's one of the things they teach you in the military was all about, hey, make your bed. There's certain lessons we get from that. And then start the day with what I want to achieve. That practice, that exercise, whatever that might be. So we're going to kind of build this routine that's going to get us towards discipline. Now, I've talked before about motivation is fleeting. It can be taken away too easily. We're going to be making a change. And there's always things that are going to try and discourage us. So like things like social media. As much as you can, cut that stuff out. Even regular media. All of these things are geared towards negativity. Now, we want to be informed about the world. We'll look at the news for a couple of minutes, but then move on. No one is really invested in anything good. Everyone just wants to share negativity and bad things and share negativity, and there's nothing good comes of that. If you're trying to build a positive routine, cut that junk out. Again, social media is full of lies. Everyone puts forward this fake image of themselves. You're not seeing anything genuine there. Then you try and compete with that perfection, which is impossible. No one's perfect, but then you feel like you're judged against that. So move away from that. Cut that stuff out. What you want to do is maybe people that inspire you. Great, follow those positive people. Add those things that you might actually want to go and see. Disconnect all of that before you go to bed. Don't be looking at screens. Actually be able to clear your mind and just go with those things. Now, I talk about motivation is fleeting, but it may help get me started. If I want to get to what I want most, remember that's the whole reason probably we're trying to build this discipline. I have to start off slow. I can't be too aggressive. If I just drew one continuous line, that's very hard to achieve. If I'm trying to climb Everest, we don't generally do it in one go. There are base camps along the way. We do it in steps. So if I think about, hey, I'm trying to get to from where I am today to what I want most, what's more likely is I'm going to have these incremental steps. I'm going to have stages. And what I want to do is not be too aggressive. I want to start off fairly slowly. Know my limits. Listen to your mind, listen to your body. If it's exercise and there's a sharp pain, that's not a good thing. That's not something you're going to go through. I need to go and see a doctor, check those things out. I want to build a foundation on which I can steadily increase. So what if it takes me 10 minutes? I'm starting out to walk to the end of the street and back again. That's quicker than the person sitting on the couch eating Cheetos. So what if I only read 2 pages of this book? Again, it's better than the person just sitting there mindlessly watching TV for 3 hours. build on the achievements, I want to have balance. Don't be too hard on yourself. If you have a bad day, so what? It's just a bad day. If I have a bad session, it's just a bad session. It doesn't mean anything. There's going to be hiccups along the way. We might fail along the way. Everyone fails. That's how we grow. The only true failure is to stay down and give up. If we fail and get up, that's the key thing. Now, if we just keep trying the same thing and failing, the definition of insanity is to do the same thing and expect a different result. So we might need to be able to change our approach to something. Maybe we need to go and get help. Don't just bang your head against the wall. There are lots of good people in the world. Again, don't worry about what you see on the social media and the news. Most people in the world are good. Reach out, ask for help to someone you trust, someone you know. Maybe it's a friend, a family member, whatever that might be. It's okay to ask for help if you're struggling. If you're doing a physical exercise, we often ask them, maybe you need a coach to get some advice. If there's mental health issues, you can go and ask for help there. There's no shame in that. It's braver to be able to go and ask someone for help than to just kind of sit there and suffer. So I want to have this idea of these incremental steps. I want to have rest days. I want to have a chance where I can sit back and enjoy and say, hey, I have done this work. I deserve a little rest. People have these cheap meals where you sit on the couch, you enjoy the movie. And you're going to enjoy it so much more because you've really worked, you've done work, you really feel like you've earned it. So what I want to do is have these little challenge points. I want to think about these little steps on the way to exactly where I want to get to. And when I hit one of them, I'm going to have a little celebration, a little party in my mind. I want to balance this. I really want to celebrate the wins. I'm not going to have one long slog. I'm going to have these points and build on those different things in which I have. Everyone loves to guilt themselves when they do something wrong, but are super tight with themselves when they do something good. Celebrate it. Feel proud in yourself. You don't need others' approval. Celebrate what you do. Now, these celebrations, these are fantastic. These are fuel. That's going to go back into helping me build the discipline. If I think about you do something hard, when you finish that thing, think how fantastic that feels. Kind of the harder the struggle, the harder the path, the better you feel when you succeed. I love doing Ironmans. I'm slow. It might take me 13, 14 hours of sheer misery. I'm tired, things hurt, I get sunburnt. But as you cross that finish line, you've endured all of that, and it's just a phenomenal feeling. It all goes away. And what you're left with is this phenomenal feeling of achievement. And then when you're doing the next one, you're struggling again, but you remember, do you remember that finish line? You remember how good that's going to feel? It helps fuel you through that next incremental step. So take that fuel along those steps, and I'm going to use it for the next step of what I'm trying to achieve. And it's going to get bigger as I go. Maybe the initial celebration is, hey, look, I started. I made the decision. I started. Then, hey, I've been doing this for a week, a month, 6 months. I ran 10K. I ran 30K. I read 2 books. I read 4 books. I've accomplished this. I've published this. Whatever it is, we're going to build and have those little parties and use it as fuel along our path. So the routine starts it, but we're going to then actually start building, and we're always thinking about, what do I want most? This is not a punishment. We are not doing this journey as a punishment because we've done something wrong. We're doing this journey because, hey, I want to get to this thing I want most. There should be an enthusiasm there. And that enthusiasm is super important to balance really against the discipline. We want a balance in our life. So I can use that enthusiasm as well for kind of fuel into that discipline to help keep doing those things. So remember those feelings of celebration, and I'm going to balance that and help use it as I'm doing these incrementally harder things. I'm building on that. This is not a punishment. I want to do this. Now, whenever we do make a change, I talk about fuel of enthusiasm and celebration. I mean, just get good fuel in yourself, what you eat, what you drink. I mean, bunch of sugary soda is not going to do you any good. Try and get outside, get a bit of sun, get a bit of exercise. Just take care of yourselves overall. And again, it will help if you've got good fuel, good things happening to you, you're going to feel better. It's going to help with this overall process. Don't try and change 10 things at once. There's steps. We're going to build on this. If let's say you're like, okay, I'm going to get up 2 hours earlier and I'm going to give up alcohol and I'm going to give up fast food and give up sugar and learn this language and work 20 extra hours a week, you're going to fail. Maybe a few people could succeed in that, but very few people will do that. Start off with one thing at a time. Let's focus on one aspect, make that change, build that into just what you do. It becomes a habit. It's now part of that discipline. And then you can move on to the next thing. Rome wasn't built in a day. And I don't want to be built in a day. If you get something very quickly, very easily, well, you're probably going to lose it very easily. If I have to work to attain something, well, that's going to get ingrained in me. Again, I've put in the work for that. I'm going to appreciate it more. I've got a much better chance of maintaining and keeping it. So I don't want to build Rome in a day. I want to think about achieving this over time, steadily getting better and better, building that discipline, getting to what I want most. So I really appreciate it. And that's going to be key to keeping it. Now, I want to make sure along this path, you define your success and you define your worth. If you think you can, if you think you're happy, if you think you're worthy, you're going to be right. Doesn't matter what other thinks. We ignore the naysayers, remember. You define all of those things. If I go out and look for bad things, I'm going to find bad things. If I go and look for good things, I'm going to find good things. So try and go out there. Again, that's why we try and cut out this junk. Look for things that are positive, that will inspire you, that will help you maintain your journey, help you maintain your discipline. Now, we all have things that maybe we're not proud of, we're embarrassed about, we look back and we kind of shudder. And we might just keep replaying those things. Why? Yes, we've all made mistakes, we've all done things we're not proud of. But if you shudder, you've learnt from it. It served its purpose. Yes, there's a whole, if you fail to sort of heed history, you're doomed to repeat it. But you've learnt from that thing. You don't have to keep replaying it in your mind over and over again to punish yourself. It doesn't achieve anything. If I go to a terrible restaurant and the meal is terrible and I get food poisoning, I don't think the next week, hey, I should go back there again and have a really crappy meal and be sick again. Oh, and the week after. I don't do that. If I see a bad movie, I don't go back to the movie theatre to see it again because I really want to see another bad movie. I'll go and see a good movie again. So we have these home movies in our brains. Play the good ones. Don't keep replaying the bad movies in your brain. There's nothing good is going to come of that. Now, if I think about movies, and again, we're trying to make these change, get these routines. In nearly every movie, when there's some sort of hero, there's a point in the movie where something clicks for the hero. They make a change, they see things in the clear light, and they become that potential. They become what they can be. Now, maybe they've got a friend, a sidekick, who's always believed in them and helps them along the way. Be that hero in your own story. Picture again, what is it I want most? What do I look like in that? What do I want most from maybe my position or how I'm interacting, whatever that might be. And you can kind of make that decision, okay, I'm now going to be that hero in my own movie and flip that. Now, along the way, again, maybe there's others that want to make a similar change. You can help each other. You can help again. It's very difficult to start this thing, to motivate and to keep each other accountable, help build that discipline. But at the end of the day, it has to come from yourself and you have to want to do it. No one else can make you do it. You can't make someone do it with you and try and drag them along because now I'm carrying them up the slope in addition to myself. Again, you're just making it harder. Also think about how you converse with yourself. Again, we talk about don't replay the bad memories. When you converse with yourself, be kind in your own kind of head. Be forgiving. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt. I can still be held accountable, but give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Finally, start today. People always say, okay, I'm going to start that tomorrow. Well, tomorrow never comes. There's no reason to wait till tomorrow. You can decide, hey, I want to build this discipline. I'm going to start this routine now. Do something now that puts you on the path. If you say tomorrow, it's just not going to happen. Make a decision and do it. So have a goal. Create a routine that becomes what I do. There's no choice in this. I'm going to do it. I want to do one thing at a time, and I'm going to have these steps along the way, these incremental steps. I'm going to celebrate each of those steps. And I'm going to use that celebration as fuel to say, hey, look what I accomplished. Yeah, that was hard, that sucked, but what I accomplished feels so much better. And then when I'm doing something else that's tough, I'm going to remember what that felt like to actually succeed. And if you can be disciplined on things you don't really want to do, think how phenomenal you'll do on the things you really, really want to do. Be prepared to adapt. If I'm doing something and it's not working, don't just bang your head against the wall. Maybe you ask for help, you try a different technique. I'm adaptable. Be the hero of your story. This is the time you can kind of make that decision. But in the end, hopefully, you'll be able to build this discipline and really get to where you want to go. So that was it. Good luck and take care of yourselves and each other.